ChatGPT just got some massive upgrades on the O3 and O4 mini today. You can see here the limits number one have increased. There's actually three big upgrades to ChatGPT today. I'll be running through all of them, but the main one right now is that there are now more responses available on ChatGPT. So it's actually had quite a big upgrade. So this is a great article by Testing Catalog, Alexei Shabanov, and essentially you can now use ChatGPT O3 much more per week. So they've actually doubled the limit to 100 messages per week. Now, there's more upgrades which I'll be talking you through today, including in a second. Let me show you this. So, first of all, they've had an upgrade on the message usage, and also images have now just come to Playground. So you can use the new image feature inside ChatGPT Playground. Additionally, they have a new feature that I'll come on to later. Dash says, is this a ChatGPT helpline? Mine's been a bit thick and not working. That sounds about right, to be fair. We've all been there. And shout out to Kazra Dash if you're not already following him. So we're going to get straight into this. And essentially, you can use ChatGPT a lot more. Previously, there was a limit. I think it reset every 7 days, something like this. Now it's increased to 100 messages per week, which is absolutely awesome. It's a really powerful model when you actually learn, okay, what can you do with it? If I understand ChatGPT and the O3 model more, I can get better results. And what I mean by that, for example, is like the more I use it, the more I unlock and get out of it. Also, the API has had an upgrade as well. So O1, O3, and O4 mini are available to all API usage tiers. And there's actually, I think, bigger and better limits on the API as well now as well. If you go into ChatGPT now, you can say, for example, if we select ChatGPT O3, which uses the advanced reasoning, you can say something like, okay, knowing what you know about me, because they've just implemented this new memory feature that actually remembers everything that you've talked about previously with ChatGPT. You can search previous chats, etc. And then you can say, okay, knowing what you know about me, you can get very personalized suggestions. And I would say that ChatGPT in some ways, especially if you use it day to day, knows you sometimes better than you know yourself. Like it's like, for example, Facebook's algorithm, it can predict when people are going to break up in their relationships because it understands what's going on and how frequently people talk to each other, etc. And so from that, I would say ChatGPT is kind of like the next evolution of this because it can give you like more personalized responses. So for example, we say, okay, knowing what you know about me, how would you suggest I approach learning a new skill? And then it's going to go into thinking mode right here. And also what I would say here is it's one of the fastest thinking and reasoning models that ChatGPT has with its level of power. Now you can use, for example, ChatGPT O4 and stuff like that, but that typically takes a lot longer to respond. So you can see here, it only takes 15 seconds. And then it comes back with very personalized responses here. So for example, it's like, Julian, you already have fast moving link building agencies. So think of learning a new skill. It's building a fresh link building campaign, set a clear objective, choose the right prospects, blah, blah, blah. And then it gives you that right there, right? Or we can say, if we go back onto a new chat now, say, knowing what you know about me, let's see what else it read. You can even get the drop downs here. It's kind of like Google Auto Suggest, but it's inside ChatGPT. And it's like, okay, what travel destinations might suit my interests? So what hobbies do you think I should explore? You get very personalized suggestions. Some people are still asking me, by the way, for Manus invitations. Honestly, I'm going to give you a recommendation here. It's cheaper and probably better if you use it in the right way. We've got tutorials inside the AI Profit Boardroom. But essentially, if you go into the AI Profit Boardroom and you look at my section on GenSpark here, and you see some of the stuff we've created, GenSpark is a more powerful tool than Manus, honestly. I would recommend that you check out GenSpark. From what I've seen, like the outputs are just 10 times better. So here it gives me some ideas. This is actually something I've been thinking about learning for a while, which is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And it's also got, for example, Blitz Chess. I used to play that, but honestly, it's a massive distraction from business. Podcasting, hosting, I can already do that. Sprint triathlon training. I don't know how I feel about that. And community mentoring, we actually do that with the SEO Elite Circle. But essentially, the most relevant response was the one that was actually thinking about learning anyway, which is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Already trained Muay Thai, so similar. And yeah, you can see how easy it is to get responses here. And again, you now get 100 messages instead of 50 messages per week, which means the limit is way upgraded, okay? Now, let's talk about the next feature, which is a new upgrade inside ChatGPT. This is the scheduling feature, right? So they've just introduced scheduling. This is a new ChatGPT web announcement. Let's open this tweet up so I can show you. It's a new ChatGPT web announcement. Use O3 and O4 mini to schedule tasks, okay? So you can actually get this new feature here to schedule tasks with O3 and O4 Mini. Now, you might say, okay, but how does that differ? Because there was already like a scheduled tasks option inside ChatGPT. But one of the biggest issues with that was that it was not very smart. Like ChatGPT 4 or 4.0, when you're scheduling tasks, it's actually pretty annoying and it's not that smart. But if you go onto O3, I haven't tested this out yet, but I want to try it. I think that you would get much better and much more personalized responses, which is going to improve the output. So, for example, if we say inside ChatGPT O3 now, okay, based on what you know about me, right? So we're using that memory feature inside ChatGPT. What tasks could you schedule and automate for me with ChatGPT scheduled tasks? Test that out, see how that goes. But yeah, essentially you can now use O3 and O4 Mini to schedule tasks. I don't really use O4 Mini that much, to be honest with you. I just think like it's a little bit slow, it's in beta, and it doesn't seem as smart as O3. Like the responses I get from O3 just feel much more human and there's better results. So you can see here, the user is asking for suggestions on tasks that could be automated with scheduled tasks, blah, blah, blah. And then it just gives us a bunch of ideas, right? And what's quite interesting about this is all personalized to me and the day-to-day tasks that I typically work on, which is awesome, right? Because we're not getting like anything that's not very impressive or not very interesting or it's totally generic, automate your to-do list or some BS like that. These are literally very personalized, practical things that I do every single day. Why are you not automating this with ChatGPT O3, right? So it's much smarter. So for example, daily macro summary. At 9 p.m., ChatGPT gathers your food notes from the day. It returns a strict format you like. I'm very particular in the way that I track my macros and how I do it inside ChatGPT. And then it's like, right, protein, calories, percent of fats, and it also breaks down each meal and gives you a one-line recap. Super powerful stuff. Daily hours tracker prompts, right? You got here, so it's, at 4 p.m., you receive a nudge to pick 5 partners from your leads prospecting list. Send a value first message, and at 8 p.m., ChatGPT asks for outcomes and logs them in a tracker. So it's kind of like having a personal assistant that can easily just give you tons of ideas on stuff that you don't even realize you should be automating, which is super powerful, to be honest with you. And it's going to give you much better results. And then also you could, for example, say inside ChatGPT, okay, anything even more personalized. And actually, this is a better way to use this, right? So this is the difference. It's a reasoning model. You can schedule tasks with it using the upgrade. So what you can do, for example, is you could say, okay, based on this, analyze and understand which of these tasks, based on what you know about me, would help me save the most time. AKA, what's the 80/20, right? How are you going to get the biggest gain? Because maybe you don't want to automate all these tasks at once and realize actually none of it works or the system's not that useful, etc. But if you could, for example, automate like the 80/20 of that, then you're going to get the biggest results first, and that's going to save you the most time in the least amount of time possible. So I'm just going to put these prompts from today inside the AI Profit Boardroom if you want to steal them from me. All right, so based on what you know about me, what tasks could you schedule and automate with ChatGPT? Tasks, and also if we go back to ChatGPT here, we'll take the other prompt, which is this one, and we'll test it out and see how it goes, right? Pretty crazy that it gave me like 15 different items that it knows I do every single day to automate and improve. So let's see what we get back inside ChatGPT here. So I just think this is like a much smarter way of automating stuff. Some people say, what's the difference between this and say using your calendar app or something like that? It's like your calendar app doesn't know anything about you. It doesn't understand who you are. It doesn't understand what you do day to day. It doesn't understand what are the typical tasks. And sometimes you might not even have that awareness, right? But ChatGPT is really going to understand your task day to day because it remembers everything that you do and it knows where you spend all your time, right? It can actually probably monitor inside the system how many minutes you spend, what tasks you're doing, and then what tasks you can automate inside it. So for example, here, I weighed up 3 factors and you can actually see the thinking here. I need to figure out which task could save the most time using the Pareto principle, focusing on Julian's context. So he's an SEO entrepreneur, etc. Here's what to do. And then it gives us a list of stuff we could automate. So we'll focus on those. And then it weighed up 3 things that we could easily automate and improve. Frequency, how often the task occurs, and manual minutes you spend per day, which is crazy, right? And look at that. Weekly time saved here, about 4 hours to 10 minutes on daily ad performance digest. You currently dig into Facebook ads every morning for about 60 minutes, schedule task and pull spend, cost per call, booked, etc. And we could schedule that in, all right? And then if you want to automate any of these tasks, you can say, okay, automate the daily macro summary, and we'll plug it in. First letter says, yo, I finally caught you live. Love watching your videos. Watch everyone. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. That is super kind. So we'll wait for that to load. And now it's planning the details for the schedule. So that's the other good thing as well, is like you don't need to figure out, okay, when you're going to do the task, what days it's going to be logged, etc. It's just scheduled it in nicely and easy, right? So it's like, got it. I'll remind you every single day at 9 p.m. to send your food notes over. And then you can see inside here, we've got the task created automatically. So it's like, right, log the macros, tell me to send today's food notes so you can return my daily macro summary in the exact format. And you could also switch this to like maybe 8 p.m., something like that. So we can change the date on here, or you can go inside, you can delete it, you can pause it, you can hit save, and you can change the name. All right, if we hit save, boom, shakalaka, we've got that done. Now you might be wondering, okay, what does that look like in reality? So let me show you an example of what the scheduled task looks like. So I'm just going to save this section inside the AI Profit Board. And then if we go inside an example email update, here's one that I scheduled before, right? And this was actually from the old version of scheduling tasks. But you can see these are the same thing. So it sends you an email from ChatGPT. It's got the task updates. It tells you where it's up to. It's all right. Boost SEO with smart ChatGPT prompts. If we click on view the message, we can see the details of that right here, right? The whole task was automated inside ChatGPT. Boom. Crazy stuff. And it gives us all the details on like how to improve SEO with ChatGPT. Now, if you're wondering, okay, how do you automate this? How do you get it set up, etc.? So the main thing here is if you go inside your settings and then click on tasks at the top, tasks here, you can see all your tasks, what's completed, what needs to be done, etc. So that's the one we just created. For example, we've got write article, create meal plan, provide TV recommendations, etc. And that is super easy. If you want to delete any of these, just click delete. So I'm going to delete that. Let's have a look what else we got. We'll delete the write article option. Some of this stuff is super old. Like I think this was when it first came out in January, which feels like a long time ago now. And if you ever want to see some examples, you can just go on that. Right? You can see what's been created and what's been built. So pretty powerful stuff. And again, with ChatGPT o3, it's just an absolute game changer because you're going to get much better results. You could also go back and forth. So if you have any changes here, you can say inside the chat here, okay, change that to 8 p.m. And then you could also say, okay, plus give me instructions to automatically filter any emails from ChatGPT via Gmail to a separate folder, right? Because maybe you want to create a separate folder inside your emails where all of this stuff just gets sent off to a separate inbox, right? So for example, if we get daily updates from tasks to do inside ChatGPT, we can just filter that off to a separate folder inside the label section here, automatically label the email, and then boom, we've got it. And that shows you exactly how to do it. In fact, I'll put that inside the AI Profit Boardroom as well. Link in the comments and description if you want to get access to this. And you can just steal the instructions from me. There we go. So it's pretty cool. That is upgrade number 2. So just to be clear here, I want to recap on where we're up to. Number 1 was that you can now use ChatGPT o3 for 100 messages per week, not just 50. Update number 2, you can now schedule and automate tasks using ChatGPT. Super easy, super powerful, using the process I've just given you. The best thing about this is these are very personalized, plus well thought out and actually useful. Like they actually have a use case. Whereas previously, without the new memory feature that came out from ChatGPT and without o3's reasoning power, the tasks you automate were very generic, right? And not that useful. That's why I never really talked about that option very much previously. So let's talk about the final update, which is the images section inside ChatGPT. So this literally just got announced very recently. I think it was like yesterday, something like that. So let me show you exactly what I mean. So inside ChatGPT, if you go to platform.openai.com/playground/images, you can go to the images section over here, and you can actually just create images using the playground feature. Now, there's quite a few big differences here, right? For example, you can actually change the size of the image. So you've got square, portrait, landscape, and you can change the quality. So you've got high, medium, low. You don't seem to be able to do that inside ChatGPT like normally, when you generate images. So if I go to my library, for example, and have a look at this image that we created, it takes quite a while to create that. simply because you're going back and forth inside ChatGPT, you're messing around, etc., and it's just not that useful. Let me show you an example of what I mean, right? So I'm going to upload an image. I'll take an image from the live stream that we're doing right now, right? So if I take this image right here, I'm like, okay, change the headline to crazy update, right? And I have to put all these instructions underneath to make sure it's the right dimensions. Whereas, for example, inside ChatGPT here, you can just select landscape. I don't have to keep iterating it and telling it like every single time to improve it. Also, I need to change that. That's going to use the thinking model. I'm just going to change that to 04. So if we just upload that image and we'll change that, right? You don't really get much customization over the create image option. Whereas inside images in Playground, you can actually choose how many images you want. So you can select like 10, which is pretty crazy. You can change between square, portrait, landscape, high, medium, and low. Here you've actually got a bunch of templates, right? So for example, you could say, okay, generate an image, and then we'll say for my SEO agency. I'm just going to change that option so that I don't rinse my credits to 5, something like that. And then we'll hit enter. And also you get this history option in the background so you can see like previous chats and that sort of thing. So you see here, right? This is the other thing about ChatGPT here as well, is like it always cuts off the text on the side. And I always have to go in, select that to change the images, and then say add more space here. And even if I put it in the instructions, it just seems to forget. So let's see what we got back here. And also, I think it's super useful just to change between quality levels here and how many images you generate. I think that's going to be a lot faster, especially if you're someone like me who's like generating a lot of thumbnails and that sort of thing for YouTube. You're just going to get better results here. And then we've got the image back. All right, so let's try this now. What I'm going to do, and I'll show you side by side. So we're going to select landscape, quality. I'm just going to go with medium for the sake of speed today. And then I'm going to upload this. I'm going to see if this works. We'll test it out. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but I assume that it would work based on what ChatGPT is offering here. So we're going to say change the headline to crazy ChatGPT update. Number of images 5. I also think this would be awesome for generating Facebook ad creatives as well. Probably going to take about 34, 35 seconds there. And we'll see what we get back in a sec. There we go. See? Like, how crazy is that? It actually adds the space on the left. Whereas on ChatGPT images, it will always cut off the text. So I think the quality of the outputs is much better inside the Playground version of OpenAI versus just using ChatGPT directly. Also, the dimensions are going to be better. You do get the code for that as well, so you can embed it if you want to as well. And yeah, and then if you just want to download it, you can just click on download over here, or you can edit the prompt. You can also add that to the prompt, so you can add that as a thumbnail prompt right there. And yeah, absolutely awesome. Now, also, it's created 5 different versions, right? We were talking about that before. So you can see here, you can flick between the versions. Now we're clicking the arrows there. Pretty good and useful. So that's the 3 upgrades from ChatGPT. Number 1, the images upgrade. Number 2, the scheduling tasks upgrade. And number 3, the fact that you can use ChatGPT 03 for 100 messages per week, not just for 50 messages per week, right? It's much more unlocked. It's unleashed, my friends. So that's basically it. If you want to get all the notes from today, all the example prompts, plus all of my best recipes, which pretty much get updated daily, you can see all the stuff we've added in April. Like, the value of this just expands exponentially. You can see from March as well, all these different upgrades that we added. And also, this is a community just focused on making more money and saving time with AI, right? So if you want to do both of those things, feel free to get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Always adding new courses, new sections, etc. And additionally, inside the community here, you can ask any questions you have. So if you're struggling with anything, you can ask 659 members any questions that you have, and yeah, get help that way. All right. Additionally, if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session, feel free to book that in. We'll show you how to get more free leads, customers, and sales with SEO, so you can get more free customers from Google and boost your profit margins without paying for ads. If you want to get that, link in the comments and description. We'll show you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visitors a month and generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales multiplier. On this free link building acceleration session, you'll get a free SEO domination plan, a custom tailored game plan, so you can generate more lead sales and profits from your website. You'll discover the secrets of SEO link building, and you'll get your questions answered.